Giro d'Italia is available to watch live and on demand every day on GCN+. And on stage 4 of the race, the peloton were about to take on their most difficult challenge in terms of parkour so far in this year's 106th edition. The 176 riders still in the race lining up, knowing they'd have to take on almost 4,000 metres of climbing, up and down all day, and a possibility for a real challenge to the Maglia Rosa. Or would the leading team want to give it away? That was the question on many's lips as they began leaving Venosa, heading to Lago Laceno, the scene of a victory for Domenico Pozzovivo, the last time the race visited in 2012. 3 categorised climbs, the hardest climbs of the race so far. Second category climbs, with Colle Molella the final of those 3 climbs. But lots of uncategorised rises and falls. A difficult day, and the weather not playing ball either. Rainy, cloudy, and pretty darn miserable, with 175 kilometres to take on. As soon as the flag was waved, it would be attack, followed by, yes, you guessed it, more attacks. 80 kilometres it would take for a breakaway to form. Some dangerous riders got up the road, others lost contact, and there were worries for teams like UAE Emirates, who had their leader in a split, João Almeida. He needed to be towed back. Back he would come. Pink jersey Remco Evenepoel was dressed up, was wrapped up. And Ben Healy, Nathaniel Tesfazion and Callum Scottson were all riders among many who tried to continue to attack. It would be over the top of one of the climbs that the first move would start to go. And when it did form, the day's break consisted of 7 riders. Only one of them having won a Grand Tour stage previously. That man, the Frenchman, Warren Barguil. Up there in the break with him, Andreas Leknesund of Norway, a man from the Arctic Circle. There at 23 years of age, the youngest and also the best placed in the general classification. He would stand to take the pink jersey if they were all to get there together. It looked increasingly like, too, that Remco Evenepoel was ready to give it up. Vincenzo Albanese took them on to the final climb. That after Leknesund had picked up 3 bonus seconds at the final intermediate sprint. In the peloton, things were about to get nervous. All picking up positions for the final climb. Pache Peintre following on. Conchi launching the first attack. Also in the break, Squinge and Gebre Xavier trying their best to take the stage win for Trek Segafredo. Evenepoel would end up isolated inside the final few kilometres. Ilan van Wilder, the last of his teammates to be dropped. Laurens de Plus of Ineos Grenadiers controlling the GC group. All the while, the fight for the stage win was going on further up the mountain. Pache Peintre rejoining Leknesund after he'd gone on the attack. 3 kilometres to go at this stage, and when they got into the final kilometre, it will be Aurélien Pache Peintre who would outsprint Leknesund, the 27-year-old from the French Alps, winning in the rugged hills of southern Italy. Leknesund second, watching the time gap, and when it ticked over a minute and a half, he would move into the Maglia Rosa. Delight for AG Desert Citroën, who get their aim of a stage win. Pache Peintre up to 3rd in the GC, the man finishing behind him, disappointed as he crossed the line, but that disappointment would soon turn to joy. The Maglia Rosa and the race lead on his back. That's because the bunch came in at just over 2 minutes down. And amongst the rest of the GC contenders, no real change. Emotions strong and visible for Leknesund. Disappointed at missing out on the stage, and after suffering some difficult times off the bike recently, he'd be finishing just behind Pache Peintre. But on the podium, smiling and delighted. DSM taking the race lead, AG Desert taking the stage. The difference now in the GC, 28 seconds between Leknesund and Evenepoel. And Leknesund too taking the white jersey, meaning that Evenepoel could have a night off all of the podium shenanigans. Stage 5 is an interesting one that could end up in some sort of a bunch sprint. But there's plenty of difficult terrain that will give anybody wishing to get in a breakaway a chance that they need to try and take it home all the way. Salerno is the destination. 171 kilometres on the menu. Again, well over 2,500 kilometres of climbing, but a flattish finish promises to be an interesting start once again A reminder, you can watch the Giro d'Italia live and on demand on GCN+.